Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Foods in Quincy and Hanover.
In Boston and New England, 617-822-1969. Verizon Wireless users, free call pound 969. A happy 4th of July to everybody out there. And we've got some calls lined up. Before we get to your calls again, we've been talking with you this evening about carbs. Everybody loves them. Breads, bagels, croissants, pasta, potato, rice, pilaf, cereals, etc. We're also correlating those carbs according to a series of recent studies with increased risks of cancer, tumor growths, heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, belly fat, and on and on and on. So we got to be really, I think, clear about the fact that carbs really break down into two primary categories. We might say healthy carbohydrates like fruits and vegetables versus what we often call comfort food, which is comforting for the moment, however, can lead to some problems. We're going to talk about that throughout the evening. Let's get to your calls first, though. Steve, patiently waiting from Norfolk. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talk Show, the Natural Health Show.
Hi, Mark. Thanks for taking my call.
Pleasure.
I have an uncle that has colon cancer, and apparently he's having severe reaction to the chemo treatments, which I don't think is very common among the other patients. And the reason the doctor thinks that he's having such a reaction is that he is low on an enzyme called DPD. If I'm not sure if you're familiar, I have the full name of it, although it's tough to dehydropyrimidine and dehydrogenase.
Right, yes.
Probably pronouncing it wrong. But I was just wondering if you had any comments in general about how you might get those enzyme levels up, or just in the chemo treatments in general.
Yeah, the dehydrogenase enzyme series are actually produced, stored, and distributed by the liver. So oftentimes when there's deficiencies in those areas, what you want to think about doing is perhaps working with supporting liver function. Again, the other thing you might want to take a peek at there is take a look at some of those other liver enzymes and take a peek at whether or not they're elevated or not. Because sometimes you'll find that there's a series of those enzymes, a number of those enzymes that are inflammatory, that are elevated, and you want to be careful about that. From the standpoint of natural medicine, from the standpoint of nutrition, you might want to think about a couple different things. Cutting down on fatty foods if he's not already doing that. Number two, increasing a lot of fruits and vegetables. That's a no-brainer always. But using bitter herbs, things like barberry, things like Oregon grape root, milk thistle. These could be very, very helpful at helping your body to kind of open up those bile ducts a little bit and kind of detox that liver, clean it out a little bit. Other supplements that you might consider here supporting liver would be choline inositol, CHOLINE, choline inositol, which are lipotropic regulators. I think some of those things could be helpful at trying to get that liver back on track and supporting DPD enzyme function.
Great. Thanks very much. I
Pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Happy 4th. Thanks for calling.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks. Again, our numbers here in Boston and New England, 617-822-1969, Verizon Wireless, pound 969 free call. Let's go to Wayne in Brockton. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talk Show, the Natural Health Show.
Hey, Mark, thanks for being live.
Pleasure.
When you should be out looking at fireworks.
Well, you're probably right about that, but I did just get back from a week-long cruise, so I'm kind of feeling rested and ready, and I was looking forward to getting back behind the mic, to be honest, but thank you.
I've been calling talk radio for almost 15 years, and I can't remember ever calling and someone saying, "Hi, how are you?" And whoever picked up your phone, kudos, thumbs up. People, they seem like they want to get you on, get you off, but what a great guy to say that.
Oh, aren't you special? Thank you.
Anyway, I called you about 2 months ago. My good cholesterol is low. I think my overall, and I don't have the numbers right in front of me, my overall is okay, but my good, that's the HDL, it was like at 30, and the doctor wanted to put me on Niaspan, and I didn't want to go on a med, and you recommended the
Fucoidan, yes.
And I did that for 2 months, and it dropped down to 28, and I'm wondering, should I try more of it? Is 2 months an adequate time?
No, 2 months really. HDL is good cholesterol is a little bit slow to move. There are pharmaceutical approaches that move a little bit quicker. There's no question about that. But over the years, working in a number of different corporate consulting environments and whatnot, there's an awful lot of people who take pretty good care of themselves, but have a difficult time really stabilizing and elevating that good HDL cholesterol. And historically, my work would suggest that you got to be looking at 6 6-month intervals. So 2 months isn't even close to enough. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
I mean, let's put it this way: you're not going to move it in a short window of time. It's not inconceivable that you couldn't get better numbers in 4 months, but I think you're looking at 6 months. You're looking at checking it twice a year at 6-month intervals.
Yeah.
And at the end of a year saying, okay, where am I this year versus last year? I think that's what you're looking at. You're not really going to get those HDLs to move that abruptly.
Okay.
It's easier to get your, not that it's a problem for your chemistry, obviously, but it's a lot easier to get bad stuff to drop real quickly than it is to get the good stuff to elevate.
Okay, and along with fish oil, healthy diet, and everything else. But
exercise, of course, there's repeated studies that indicate that when you and I are really vigorous with our aerobic exercise plans, and we're vigorously exercising 4, 5, 6 days a week, that's going to expedite that whole good HDL elevation process.
So just go to the health food store and buy it again, and just give it another 4 months.
Yeah, in fact, there's a lot of research on brown algae being able to do that. Again, it's not going to do that in a short window of time, but I think the other thing I'd say about HDL, you've got to have a sort of a holistic, not to overuse that phrase, but a program whereby you're exercising, as I say, 4 to 6 times a week, vigorously, aerobically. You're using the fish oils fairly liberally. The diet includes a lot of good fatty fish, at least once or twice a week. I think all of it added up is really the way to get it done.
Right, and real quick, rather than just the regular fish oil, wasn't there, there was another type that you were recommending, something that...
Yeah, well, there are so many different marine lipids, that they're all pretty darn good, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that I still like the Nordic Naturals marine lipids. I think those are really good. They make a variety of different types of omega-3, good, healthy omega-3 fats. Good product line, the Nordic Naturals is. And I think the most important thing is you want to take probably a good 4,000 milligrams a day. So there are 1,000 per capsule. That's 2 caps twice, absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Hey, thank you. Have a great holiday weekend.
Hey, thank you so much.
Again,
pleasure.
That guy's going places that answered the phone.
You're right on. Thanks. He's a good man.
Bye-bye.
Marcus is a good man, isn't he, Marcus? Yes, indeed. All right. Let's get to a few more calls here. Before we do that, let's announce our telephone numbers in Boston, New England, 617-822-1969, Verizon Wireless, pound, free call, pound 969. And let's get to, Eliza. Is that right? Eliza in Medway. Welcome to 969 Boston Talk during the Natural Health Show.
My sister went to a cardiologist, and he told her she was taking niacin. Her doctor told her to take 3 a day, which is 500 mgs. And when she went to a cardiologist, he said not to take them that could cause a heart attack.
Vitamin B3?
Niacin.
Yeah, that's vitamin B3.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a scoop on me because I've been doing what I've been doing for about 30 years, and I've never heard of such a thing. But that doesn't mean I know everything in the world, So I am surprised at the very least to hear that suggestion, but maybe somebody knows something that we don't.
I was more than surprised because I've been taking niacin for years.
Yeah, well, of course.
500 mg.
Yeah, and there are just a plethora of studies that would indicate that it is a great cholesterol eater, and that it is a great circulatory enhancer. The great Dr. Carl Pfeiffer down at the BioBrain Institute in Princeton, New Jersey, at the University of Princeton, did a lot of research on vitamin B3 as a brain circulator, a cerebral circulator, because it has the capacity to really increase brain and heart circulation and create a greater efficient supply of blood and oxygen to the brain and the heart. So, I mean, I've never, ever heard of any such a thing. But, again, there's a lot of information out there. Who knows if somebody was referring to a very specific study of some kind that we're just not familiar with. But, what can I tell you? I mean, there's a lot of people kicking around a lot of information around out there. This is the age of information. Double-check everything. And all I can tell you is that I know of no such negative correlates between heart disease and vitamin B3, or, as you point out, nicotinic acid or niacin.
Well, many years ago, over 25 years ago, I was going to this doctor. I went to him for over 20 years. And when he knew I was taking vitamins, he wanted to put me on cholesterol medication. I said no. I started taking the niacin, and I started eating stuff that was good to bring your cholesterol down, like beans and lentils.
Sure, yeah.
When I went back, he said, what have you been doing? I told him. He said, well, I think you're wasting your money on vitamins. I said, well, they haven't hurt me yet. and that was it.
Well, and how about your levels? I mean,
I have a very high count of good cholesterol.
So you're really getting the job done, aren't you?
Exactly.
So as the old saying goes, proof's in the pudding, right?
That's right. That's what I told myself. I've been taking it for years. And I told my doctor that I had over 25 years. I had to change because he retired. And the new one, wouldn't you think he wanted to put me on cholesterol medication?
I like your style. I like your style.
No way. I said, give me the numbers. And I did the math right in front of him. And it came a ratio of 2.4. And that's very good.
Well, you not only have a healthier heart, you got a lot of heart, girl. I like your call.
Recently, I have fibrillation. I did have that.
Mm-hmm. Have you taken a peek? One of the books that we often talk about for folks who have any form of heart condition at all is the wonderful book that was written by Dr. Stephen T. Sinatra, Sinatra.
Oh, I used to send for his stuff. Yes, from New York.
His book is terrific. Yeah, well, he was actually in Connecticut, but his book is terrific, which is the Sinatra Solution, and it's a book on metabolic cardiology. And he talks about the importance of magnesium, and he talks about the importance of CoQ10 for AFib issues.
I took CoQ10 for years until they found out. I'm 94 years old, and this was just recently, about over a year ago, found out I was anemic, and then all this other stuff came out. But up until I was maybe a year or two ago, I was very healthy. Go in and out of the doctor's office, nothing. So I do believe niacin is a good vitamin.
Well, it is. But back to what we're saying about CoQ10, one of the things that Dr. Sinatra talks about with AFib is the importance of magnesium. Now, there's different types of magnesium out there, but you might want to supplement your system with some magnesium orotate, O-R-O-T-A-T-E. Been a lot of research by Dr. Hans Napier on magnesium orotate with AFib. And also, again, the type of CoQ10 that you use, really, really important. There are ubiquinones and there are ubiquinols, and the alcohol-converted form ubiquinol is about 400% more absorbable than many of the tablets by comparison in studies. So you want to go for the ubiquinol, U-B-I-Q-U-I-N-O-L. Make sure there's an O-L on the end of the ubiquinol there. So you want to take probably 200 milligrams of ubiquinol and about 500 milligrams of the magnesium orotate and see if that doesn't help you out a little bit.
Magnesium orotate. Now I've got Sinatra's name in my directory here that I keep.
Yep.
So
terrific
I
resource.
A lot of vitamins from him. The CoQ. I used to always buy from him.
CoQ10, great stuff. Well, Liza, thank you so much for your call, and happy 4th of July.
Welcome.
And wow, that's what I call a lot of heart right there. And love getting calls like that. In Boston and New England, if you want to give us a call, 617-822-1969. Verizon Wireless users, free call pound 969. We're here to talk with you about your health issues. And let's get back on point here just for a minute before break. We were talking a little bit about these recent studies that one of them from the University of Alabama at Birmingham that found that moderate reduction in carbs when paired with weight loss, just moderate weight loss, can help reduce deep belly fat, reducing the risks of type 2 diabetes, stroke, and heart disease. So that's quite a significant That's quite a significant turn of events there. Also, a recent study performed by researchers at British Columbia Cancer Research Center, published in the journal Cancer Research, found that a low-carb, high-protein diet may reduce the risk of cancer and slow the growth of tumors. And the researchers injected one group of mice with human cancer cells, while another group was injected with mouse tumor cells. They were then separated into two groups. One group was fed a diet comprised of 55% carb, 23% protein. The other group was fed a 15% carb, 58% protein diet. And the tumor cells grew consistently slower in the high protein group. The carbs, of course, drive up both insulin and glucose, and insulin triggers inflammatory hormones that stimulate tumor growth, and tumor cells require significantly more glucose as well. Tumors feed off of a high sugar and a high starch diet, so as I always remind so many folks that I work with, many cancer patients are best advised to cut down on their processed sugars and simple starches. people often ask the question, what about fruits? Should we lay off the fruits as well because fruits have sugar? No is the answer to that, because generally speaking, fruit only contains about 5 grams of sugar per serving, and the high sugar foods out there that we talked about earlier contain 20, 30 grams per serving, and big difference between those foods. So no, we're not going to discourage you from your fruits. We continually get great information, especially about things like berries. We hear about Dr. Daniel Nixon, for example, down at University of South Carolina, the Hollings Cancer Research Institute, report after 7 years of study, and I had a personal interview with him, remarkable guy, but after 7 years of studying raspberries, the ellagic acid, the little seeds that are in raspberries, folks, the equivalent of 3/4 of a cup of raspberries were causing cancer cell death, the death of cancer cells, within 48 hours. Hey, we're going to take a short little break. We'll be back with your calls. They're all lining up. We'll get to your calls when we come back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Listen. Interact. View. Engage. Live. 96.9 BostonTalks.com.
If you're ready to take control of your health, have more energy, and live more fully, then Kripalu's Healthy Living Programs are for you. The unique Healthy Living Programs at Kripalu are 5-day retreats created to help you make positive lifestyle changes that will transform your health and life. Taught by leading health, nutrition, lifestyle, yoga, and fitness professionals, Healthy Living Programs at Kripalu include educational workshops, yoga and mindfulness instruction, health talks, fitness activities, and 3 delicious all-natural meals each day. Transform your life with Kripalu's signature Healthy Living Programs like nutrition and cooking immersion, detox for health and healing, digestive health, a holistic approach, or integrative weight loss, just to name a few. With so many different programs to choose from, you're sure to find a perfect fit. Kripalu, located in the beautiful Berkshires of Western Massachusetts, offers a nurturing and healing environment that makes change possible. Log on to kripalu.org. That's kripalu.org, or call 866-200-5203. Again, it's 866-200-5203. Kripalu Healthy Living Programs. Transform your life. Programs enrolling now. There's a fine balance between what's best for your landscape and what's best for your family. This is why Aspen Environmental Services of New England is proud to be an industry leader in the use of environmentally responsible products for outdoor pest control, tree and shrub spraying and injecting. Applications control Lyme disease ticks, caterpillars, adelgids, and 200 other pests that damage landscape. Visit the plant healthcare professionals at treeandlawncare.com. That's treeandlawncare.com. Or call 888-418-BUGS and mention Candida, because listeners get a 10% discount. That's 888-418-BUGS. treeandlawncare.com. Get them before they get you.
Make plans now for a day with Joan Borisenko. Hear Joan Borisenko Sunday, August 7th at the John F. Kennedy Middle School in Waltham. Joan Borisenko is acknowledged as one of the world's greatest leaders and distinguished pioneer in integrative medicine and the mind-body connection. Joan Borisenko's groundbreaking book, Minding the Body, Mending the Mind, revolutionized our awareness of the mind-body connection a few years back. Now, Joan's new book, Fried, Why You Burn Out and How to Thrive, is here. Joan will share up-to-the-minute spiritual inspiration coming from her own process in a unique presentation, Reviving Your Life, with a book signing to follow. Register for Joan Borisenko on myhealthylivingmag.com. General admission is just $39. Program begins at 2 p.m. Call 781-834-2728 for tickets. That's 781-834-2728. This is your chance to see Joan Borisenko live Sunday, August 7th at the John F. Kennedy Middle School in Waltham. Register at myhealthylivingmag.com. Come learn how to revive your own life energy.
Over $300 for the two of you? I mean, the food was good, but you could have gone around the corner to that place with a good eggplant parm. What is it, like $12 a plate? And you would have been perfectly happy. A good dinner, a good price, a good value. Right Window is eggplant parm. A good window at a fair price, a good value. And we tell you the price up front, so when the check shows up, you don't clutch your chest and go, like that. See our price list online at rightwindow.com. You don't have to pay an arm and a leg for quality windows. They're going to tell you they've got the seared Alaskan crab flambe. Yeah, maybe they do. We've got the eggplant parm. A good window at a fair price. So what are you going to do?
Call Right Window right now.
Call 800-639-7000. 800-639-7000. This month, save $149 on our best triple pane window. A better window installed for the right price. Right window.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Foods in Quincy and Hanover.
In Boston and New England, 617-822-1969. Verizon Wireless users free call pound 969. You know, one little quick thing I want to say, too, is a gentleman that called in earlier regarding trying to get his good cholesterol up, and we talked about the cal-fucoidan, which is a brown algae. What you might actually consider doing is doing a little Google search for Seanol, S-E-A-N-O-L. S-E-A-N-O-L. It's a stronger, more concentrated form of brown algae that has actually spent an awful lot of time and money on research proving that it will drive up their good HDLs. S-E-A-N-O-L, Seanol. Okay? A little bit more of a gourmet approach to doing the same thing, but check that out. Hey, we got to get to your calls. You folks have been real patient. Kate from Newton, welcome to 96.9 Boston Talk for the Natural Health Show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
I love listening to your show.
Thank you.
And I had a quick question just regarding my mother-in-law. She's 71 years old, and she was recently diagnosed after about a year of issues with congestive heart failure.
Right.
She's had one heart attack, I know, and it was one of those situations where, like, she didn't even know she had one. It wasn't what you see in the movies where somebody's rushed somewhere. And I know them enough to know their lifestyle and everything. They don't eat out a lot. They don't eat processed foods, things like that. I do know that they eat a lot of carbs. They're Italian. And my father-in-law's also had heart issues. And I know, like, one of the things that I told them they should really do is see a dietitian once she's out of the hospital. But I was kind of wondering if there's any cookbooks or anything you could recommend that would really help them kind of change their diet without it being completely overwhelming, and things that they could cook at home to do so.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, I think there's a simple answer for that. I don't think they have to change it dramatically, and I think you already hinted, and we sort of have hinted with the main topic of this evening's broadcast, you know, the idea that you want to increase the fruits, the vegetables, the chicken, turkey, fish, baked and broiled, of course, skinless, and, you know, even beans, and try to kind of wander into the land of legumes a little bit more, and really cut down on the red meats, the fatty dairy products, the butters, and the egg yolks. I think those are the keys.
Okay.
I don't think that they really have to get really caught up, especially, you know, at their age and their fatigue factor and their stress. They don't want to have to worry about getting into really concentrated issues that are complicated, rather issues about food preparation and recipes and all that stuff. But I think if they just take the basic diet they have now and just really increase egg whites as opposed to whole eggs, because the yolks,
I do know that they do a lot of eggs. I do know that.
So you want to be careful of those yolks, because the yolks are really very high in arachidonic acid, which is a fatty acid that drives up the clotting factor, a hormone called thromboxane A2. So a lot of clotting factor is the end inflammatory result at a blood level of these egg yolks. So you want to make sure that they're eating egg whites, not the yolks.
Okay.
Number two, you know, a lot of vegetables and fruits and lean meats, like we say, baked or broiled chicken, turkey, fish, beans, tofu products. They're probably not going to go that far, but I mean, at least the baked or broiled chicken breast and turkey breast and turkey burgers, chicken burgers, with without a lot of butter in the pan, so to speak, and to do a lot more steaming of the vegetables.
Now, I know that I personally don't like it, but I know that they, because my father-in-law's a hunter, I do know that they do eat venison, and I've heard mixed things about that. Like, is that a good red meat? Should they avoid it, or how? What do you know anything about that?
Yeah, there's more gamma-lins in there, which are good fats, provided that your digestive processes work efficiently. But again, there's three groups of fats. I'll simplify it. There's neutral, there's inflammatory, there's anti-inflammatory, and the venison is a neutral fat, which isn't going to hurt anybody, but you're not going to get the therapeutic results that somebody like those folks are looking for.
Right.
Whereas the fats that you get from fatty fish are indeed therapeutic. The fats from walnuts, the fats from pumpkin seeds, the fats from soy. These are anti-inflammatory. These produce alpha-linolenic acid. These have a more positive effect. And again, my way of looking at it is foods ultimately are either neutral, or they're medicinal, or they're toxic.
Right.
You want to make sure that you're getting as much medicinal support as possible from your food. And that's why I'd say neutrals, you're not going to get a lot out of them. So I'm not going to look at the venison as a bad food or a good food. I'm going to say it's a neutral.
And then just one last quick question.
Sure.
I have both of the South Beach diet cookbooks,
yes.
and I really do enjoy cooking from them, and I think that the food actually tastes great in there, but I wasn't sure if that was something that I could even have them look at, or
for the most part,
experience with that.
Sure, yeah. For the most part, the answer is affirmative, yes, and for the most part, those are reasonably good programs for them to work with. But again, you want to be looking at the total sugars, the hidden sugars. You want to be looking at the total carbohydrate consumption, like we said at the beginning of the broadcast. The real key is at least a moderate reduction in those carbohydrates. The average American is consuming 300 grams of carbohydrates a day. In reality, a 2,000-calorie diet only needs about 200. So, there's just too darn much of it. And not to mention that the qualification hasn't really been engaged in most diets, so that most folks are just eating, white flour products and white rices as opposed to brown rice and that sort of thing. So,
and would going to like a brown, because they are Italian, they love pasta. I have some of the brown pastas here, which they hate. I found a couple that I think are really good.
It's going to make a difference.
Is that a better step, or does it really not make much of a difference in the grand scheme of things?
In the grand scheme of things, the fiber is really important, and the fact that there's nutrients in there is going to really affect the glycemic index. So it's going to be helpful. But still in all, the worst thing you want to do is convince them that now we've got a viable solution that they overdo. So we want to cut down on starch in general.
All right, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
You're very helpful.
Pleasure. Thank you very much for calling. All right, let's go to Vinny in Millville, and you're welcome to 96.9 Boston Talk Show on the Natural Health Show.
Hey, Doc, how you doing?
Terrific. How are you?
Good, thanks. Two quick questions. One, my father's 83, and he's gone through some difficulties, but he's on the road back to recovery. The doctor put him on, I think, one statin for a little while. Now, I know that depletes CoQ10, but I just recently read that if you don't administer the CoQ10 or the ubiquinol right when he starts the statin, that it will not be able to do what it has to do to repair whatever's affected by the statin?
Well, here's the thing. I think, in time, over a period of time, the body's ability to actually make efficient use of the CoQ10, it really becomes diminished. So as we age in general, our CoQ10 efficiency drops. But I still think that the most important thing to do is to try to get caught up to whatever level of cardiovascular and oxygenation support we can get ourselves up to. So you never want to let that discourage you. I think you want to absolutely get that CoQ10 to 200 milligrams of CoQ10 a day in the form of ubiquinol. And again, a really absorbable form of ubiquinol is going to make a big difference. And you may not be able to let's say, compensate for whatever kind of damage has taken place, but you can certainly, I think, stave off the breakdown, the inflammatory responses, and I would encourage you to still get busy with that.
Okay, we'll go with that. The other question is for my mom. She has a pretty bad GERD, and I've cautioned her on using any of the over-the-counter things that shut down the stomach acid, because I realize that GERD is actually, you need more stomach acid, I think, especially when you're older. But maybe you could clarify some of that for me on that.
Yeah, well, you know something? It's like everything in the world of chemistry is like yin and yang, chocolate and vanilla. Everything in the world of chemistry has good and bad stuff, and antagonisms. There are good fats, there are bad fats. We've already studied that and talked about that at great length. But there are good acids and there are bad acids. When you talk about the enzymes, the catalases that break down protein, that digest our food, the little Pac-Man molecules that really help us digest things, these are representative of good acids. There are bad acids. There are fatigue and stress acids in the body that break us down. So it's a matter of good and bad. You don't want to kind of just lump everything in the same boat and sink that boat. We want to say, look, acid's bad. No, acid isn't all bad. There's good and bad. What ends up happening when people don't correct their pH is they lose track of their body's ability to manage good versus bad acid. So you want to make sure that your body is alkaline and buffered so that you can then produce good acid to your advantage. So the real key is to get yourself corrected as far as your body's pH. And people often say, oh, no, that's ridiculous. pH is all the same. No, it's really not. It's really not. It's quite different. If you talk about the digestive pH, for example, every tenth of a point is equal to like 64.5% oxygen differential. So
wow.
You want to make sure that you take some chlorophyll. I recommend liquid chlorophyll, and I recommend like 2 tablespoons in 4 ounces of water 3 times a day for GERD, and that will provide you with a pretty good baseline to kind of buffer you and alkalize. Of course, your diet's got to be pretty alkaline as well. So a lot of vegetables and fruits, cut down on the sugars and the heavy meats and things like that, and the fatty foods. That should help you make a big difference.
Can I hit you with one more quick one?
Sure, go ahead.
I appreciate your patience. My mom's, she doesn't eat a lot. She feels so sick that she doesn't eat at all, and she really doesn't have a lot of nutrients that are going into her body.
Mm-hmm.
Never mind the fact that she's probably not absorbing anything that goes in. Could you recommend for somebody who doesn't have a gallbladder, who has these digestive issues, and is kind of like a turtle that's pulled her legs in and won't make any decisions, what I can do for her?
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that I'd recommend highly, and that is get on down to Target and get a Jack LaLanne Pro juicer and start juicing at least 8 ounces of fresh apple and or vegetable juice a day. Combine things like a couple apples, a couple pears, some celery, things like that. Keep it simple, but get it at least take 8 ounces, preferably twice a day, but if not, at least 8 ounces of fresh-made juice once a day. That's really important to get that enzyme count back up again and to get her to absorb some of these really important nutrients that are ever so available in this raw, juiced state. Thing is, she's got to consume that juice within 20 minutes or it's useless.
Okay, thanks for all your help.
My pleasure. Good luck to both of you. All right, let's get on to, we got time for calls here. Let's go to Pamela in Worcester. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talk Show, the Natural Health Show.
Hey, good afternoon, Doc. Thanks for taking my call. I'm 50. I've had rheumatoid arthritis for 30 years. I just went on Enbrel about 5 weeks ago. Tomorrow I'm supposed to take a 6th injection, but here's my problem. Last week when I took the injection, it didn't pop. It's like an EpiPen, self-injected.
Yep.
And it didn't pop, so I thought it was a defective pen, so I set it aside. I didn't put it back in the refrigerator until the next day, because then I learned that maybe I didn't depress it to my skin hard enough for it to pop. Is that medicine no good because it was out of temperature for 24 hours?
Well, you're working with a medical doctor. My advice to you is you contact your medical doctor and you leave them a message. No doubt that they'll get back to you pretty promptly about that. But what I would like to talk to you about is I'd like to talk to you about nutrition for a minute or two, because if you've had rheumatoid, rheumatoid is the byproduct of arachidonic acid in the body. And again, too much peanuts in the diet, dairy, red meats, egg yolks will drive that up. So I would advise for a good 3-4 weeks you avoid those foods. Again, avoid dairy, red meats, peanuts, and egg yolks for a good 3-4 weeks and see how your inflammatory response goes. And I think it'll be a lot better. Fish oils wouldn't hurt either. I'd recommend 3,000 milligrams of fish oils, omega-3 fish oils, with that dietary advice. We're going to have to break here. I'm sorry. Thank you for your call.
Thank you so much, Doc.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. We're going to have to shoot out here to break. We got some messages to get to you, and we'll get right back with your call. Stay tuned.
Questioning authority is a Boston tradition, and the tradition lives on right here.
Any questions?
96.9 Boston Talks.
There are many things we cannot control in life. The one thing we can control is how we choose to take care of ourselves. Hi, this is Mark Mincola, New England's leading natural health care expert. Join me for my monthly live webinars. The key in making your health a priority is becoming educated on how your body works and how to make it work for you. We're continually listening to our valuable feedback, and the one thing that requests most of us is to provide more cutting-edge educational and motivational tools. Join me for my monthly live webinars as I educate individuals on how to work nutrition and overall health permanently into their lifestyle. We understand that even with the power of the internet, it is still difficult to find health information that is relevant, backed by science, understood, and can be implemented into your lifestyle. My live nutrition webinar series takes place on the first Monday of each month at 12 noon. For only $99, you can participate in all 12 webinars webinars. For more information, log on to myhealthylivingmag.com or call 781-834-2728. That's 781-834-2728. You know, when most people hear the word allergies, they think only of hay fever-like symptoms associated with airborne pollen, dust, and mold. But did you know that many experts estimate that between 60 and 80 million of us suffer from immune-related food allergies without even knowing it? Furthermore, food allergies often contribute to serious health problems such as autism, irritable bowel syndrome, ADD, headaches, and chronic ear infections. Now, there's an effective way to identify and eliminate both your food allergies and the troubling symptoms that they aggravate. Allotest Medical Labs at foodallergy.com offers a full complement of clinical, environmental, and food allergy testing to help you get to the root of your allergy problems. Allotest also provides you with a comprehensive rotation diet, lifestyle booklet, and a wallet card to help you live food allergy-free and stress-free. Do you wonder if you or your loved ones are among the 60 to 80 million food allergy sufferers in America? If so, log on to Allotest Medical Labs, foodallergy.com. Talk to your doctor about ordering a food allergy test from Allotest Medical Labs today. Foodallergy.com. Make sure the food you're eating isn't what's depleting you.
Have you been looking for a meaningful career that fits your lifestyle, is satisfying, and gives you a future? Work that by its very nature is healthy, creative, and forward-moving? If you love to help people look or feel better, working as a massage, aesthetics, or spa professional can be a perfect match. The field is continuing to grow even in this economy, and this is one of the best professions for people who want their own business. Spa Tech Institute has been training successful massage, polarity, and aesthetics professionals for over 30 years. Spa Tech Institute is a pioneer in the field of holistic health and offers day, evening, and mother's hours programs that can have you working by next spring. Spa Tech Institute is located in Plymouth, Westboro, and Ipswich. You can find us on the web at spatech.edu. That's spatech.edu. Join us in making the world a healthier place.
Make plans now for a day with Joan Borisenko. Hear Joan Borisenko Sunday, August 7th at the John F. Kennedy Middle School in Waltham. Joan Borisenko is acknowledged as one of the world's greatest leaders and distinguished pioneer in integrative medicine and the mind-body connection. Joan Borisenko's groundbreaking book, Minding the Body, Mending the Mind, revolutionized our awareness of the mind-body connection a few years back. Now, Joan's new book, Fried, Why You Burn Out and How to Thrive, is here. Joan will share up-to-the-minute spiritual inspiration coming from her own process in a unique presentation, Reviving Your Life, with a book signing to follow. Register for Joan Borisenko on myhealthylivingmag.com. General admission is just $39. Program begins at 2 p.m. Call 781-834-2728 for tickets. That's 781-834-2728. This is your chance to see Joan Borisenko live Sunday, August 7th at the John F. Kennedy Middle School in Waltham. Register at myhealthylivingmag.com. Come learn how to revive your own life energy.
Now, back to the Natural Health Show, sponsored by Good Health Natural Foods in Quincy and Hanover.
In Boston and New England, 617-822-1969. Verizon Wireless users, free call, pound 969. Of course, my name is Mark Mincola. You've been listening to the one and only Natural Health Show right here on 96.9 Boston Talks. And we're going to go to Pam, who patiently waited for quite a long time from Cape Cod. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talks from the Natural Health Show. Hello, Pam.
I have a question about cholesterol. I just heard the tail end of it.
Sure.
And I'm taking a statin now, and I don't feel that comfortable with it. And someone had suggested rice pills. The Chinese have been using this for years, and instead of taking on the package, it said, if you're taking a statin, don't take these rice pills. But I think the rice pills would be healthier than a statin.
Well, you're speaking, of course, of red rice yeast. Red rice yeast. And again, it's actually a fungus that eats fat, that eats cholesterol. And much of the early Mevacor research, again, Mevacor is a statin drug for folks who are not aware of it, actually is an adaptation of that very thing where the Mevacor drug was kind of an alternative, kind of pharmaceutical approach to the same thing, but it's really comprised of red rice yeast. So yes, you can purchase red rice yeast caps from your neighborhood health food store, and they're quite effective at lowering bad cholesterol, no question about it.
Great.
All right.
That's just what I needed to know. I think I'll substitute instead of the statin I'm taking.
Well, make sure you sit down and have a little powwow with your doc and make sure that everybody in your team knows that you're doing what you're doing. Don't just do your own thing on your own. If you've got people following you, make sure you communicate. It's all about communication, but good luck. All right, let's...
Great. Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for calling. And let's go to Karen in Canton. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talks. You are on the Natural Health Show.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
Same to you.
Thanks. Before I was going to call to ask my question, I thought on maxhealing.com I'd be able to find out what you've talked about on the on your radio show about calcium supplements, but I couldn't find anything on that site. Like the information that you've given.
It is on there, and we talk extensively about the importance of MK7, which is the vitamin K2, vitamin K2 is. We're actually, before I even get onto that, let me say that we're sort of redesigning. We've changed the site around a little bit. We're sort of doing some work on that right now. So we'll try to make that stuff more easily accessible. There's hundreds of pages on that site.
Oh.
We kind of have to go through it, clean it up, and make it a little bit easier to get at. But there's a lot of information over a period of time. You load information on a site, and then after a while you've got to kind of wean it down, and you've got to start over and kind of edit and whatnot. So we're sort of in the middle of that process.
Okay, well, I have two questions because I didn't listen to podcasts. Something I was trying to catch last week that I wasn't sure about. You were talking about the modified pectin last week, and you said something about, because I do eat apples. I thought you said don't eat them at night. I don't. You said something.
No. I said you don't want to take your pectin at night. In other words, modified pectin is a great way to pull cholesterol out of the body or to pull toxins out of the body. Modified pectin kind of has the capacity to wrap itself around a lot of that fat and pull it out. But it also has the capacity to wrap itself around medicine, supplements, vitamins, things like that. So if you take it with your morning supplements, it sometimes wraps itself around and pulls a lot of those supplements out before you have any real viable opportunity to absorb them, assimilate them, and put them to work. So I always recommend that if you're going to take a pectin, which is an amazing agent at pulling stuff out of the body that you don't want in there, you want to take it sort of by itself at night when it really isn't going to interfere with those important medicines and vitamins.
Okay, and as far as just eating apples itself, that doesn't really matter when you eat them?
No problem.
Okay. And number two, now, I did go to I was dying to go to that Quincy, the health food store, and I did make it there. And I've got a few things, and I got that K that you talk about.
Right. Vitamin M, K7, vitamin K2.
I got, this was from Life, I have it in front of me. It's Life Extension Super K with Advanced K2 Complex. Is that what?
Great product.
So that's the right thing to buy?
It is indeed.
Okay, because you just said something about M7 and I didn't...
Well, no, the other term for vitamin K2, there's different types of vitamin K.
Oh.
The vitamin K2 is menaquinone, and it's vitamin MK7, so it's another term for it, but... what its primary job is in the body is to play traffic cop with calcium.
Right.
In other words, just to make the calcium goes to the right place, make sure it goes to those bones and doesn't clog up arteries, etc.
Right. Well, I take my calcium twice a day, but I only take this. I think it says only take one pill a day, so I take with my calcium in the morning, just one pill.
Very good.
And that's okay, right?
It is, absolutely. There's usually 90 to 100 microgram doses that you're looking at with vitamin K2.
Okay, and then I bought the calcium there as well. But I was told that when you take a calcium supplement, the magnesium in that pill should be about half of the calcium.
That's generically true.
Okay, because when I bought Solaray, that's not the instance in what I bought, so I guess I didn't buy the greatest thing, unless I go out and buy a magnesium tablet.
Well, to me the most important thing is the type of calcium that you have, and I think that there are, when you consider that some calciums are like 10 to 15% absorbable, and others are 90 to 95% absorbable, there's quite a difference between one calcium and the next.
Right. So. Well, this says with full range amino acid chelates at the end.
Yeah, that's about 80%. That's pretty good stuff.
Okay, I know you always talked about chelates. That's why I bought that.
It's the simplest, easiest to find, the least pricey for getting a good quality calcium.
Okay, great.
You did great.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
I hope you have a wonderful day.
Happy 4th. Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye. All right, let's get to Sandy in Braintree. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talks. You are on the Natural Health Show.
Hi there.
Hello.
I have a question regarding peanut butter.
Sure.
Because I just love it. And I know you said there were inflammatory issues associated
Yes,
with it.
indeed, that is the case.
What should I take in place of that? What would be a good butter to substitute?
Well, you can actually you can make a switch over from an inflammatory peanut butter to an anti-inflammatory type peanut butter. There's a soy nut butter called, the brand is I.M. Healthy. I am healthy. I recommend the green label. I am healthy.
Oh, I tried. I didn't like that.
Well, then you might want to look at the blue label because they put a little bit of maltodextrin in there, which is a little bit of corn sweetener in there. But that probably will be more palatable for you because the texture is identically the same. The taste is a little bit more palatable because of the fact that they put the sweetener in there.
But any other type of butter would be. How about like almond butter or sunflower?
Almond butter, cashew butter. Those are neutrals. Those are not inflammatories. They're not anti-inflammatories. They're neutrals. But I always try to get people to switch from a neutral food to an anti-inflammatory. But yes, you can surely use those.
Now, how about sunflower butter? Is that good?
Yeah, that'd be fine too. Sunflower butter is often called sun butter, and there's some good brands out there. But that's a better way to go than peanut butter.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Good luck.
Well, thank you. Bye
Pleasure. Bye-bye. Let's move right through here to Alex in Marblehead. Welcome to 96.9 Boston Talks. You're in the Natural Health Show.
Yeah, hi, Mark. First of all, I just want to thank you for being so informative about alternatives like quercetin. It helps so much with my allergic reaction.
Thank you.
But I'm going through something right now I wanted to ask you about. I was put on blood pressure medication because my blood pressure elevated.
Yep.
But recently I went back to the doctor and it's gone back down to normal. And he wanted me to take the blood pressure medication for another month. I'm seeing him Tuesday. But I'm going through these symptoms now where I'm getting flushed, red in the face, and I'm just sweating without just sitting and I have insomnia, and I was just wondering if I feel like it's a reaction to taking the blood pressure medication when my blood pressure has gone down.
Right. Well, I think you surely should sit down and have a little chat with your physician about that. You're likely right, but I think you need to defer to somebody who has a better awareness about that. One of the things that I like to suggest to folks is that they have a fairly consistent sit-down chat with your physician, and it's most of us blame them for not being at our beckoning call, but in many cases you'll be surprised to know that if you sit down and schedule an appointment and show up on time, that they'll be glad to have a chat with you just for 5 or 10 minutes. And I think under those circumstances, at the very least, it's a call to his or her nurse practitioner to basically discuss these issues. But the very least, you're going to get a call back on it. But you need to defer to the professionalism of your physician. But you might have something there. But I think again, you can't just be playing with these medications. I mean, there are alternatives. Again, one of the things I always talk about are the ACE peptides. ACE peptides, they're not going to have the same effect as a medication. They're not going to have the same ability to operate biochemically as the medications will, but they're very effective. And Dr. Michael Murray actually has a wonderful ACE peptide from the bonita fish, and that ACE peptide is a remarkable natural medicine for doing the very same thing. So, you might have that kind of a discussion, and you might try to see if you can't get yourself straightened out. But, you're likely onto something here because your liver could be in rebellion at the fact that, your blood pressure is normalized, and you could be kicking up some enzymes. Who knows? But you need to sit down and have a cogent pep talk with your physician, a heart-to-heart with your physician.
Well, I have a good physician, and in fact, Tuesday morning I have my annual physical, and he's very good about conversation. So
perfect timing.
I just value your information and what I learn something every week from you.
Well, I would urge you to take a look at the ACE peptides. I'd tell you to look at folic acid and something called pycnogenol. Those are the three things that I would ask you to look at. ACE, ACE peptides, PEPTIDES. Number 2, folic acid, and number 3, the pycnogenol, PYCNOGENOL. Look at those three things for blood pressure and see if you can't learn something more.
Can you get any of those in vegetarian form?
Should be able to, yes. Well, in fact, pycnogenol is from like grape seed, so you shouldn't have any trouble there at all. The only problem you're going to have is with the ACE peptides because those are from fish. But there is a C9 peptide made by, a C12 peptide made by Twin Labs, and that's actually a milk-based product.
Okay. Thank you so much. You
Pleasure.
have a good and safe 4th of July.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye-bye. All right, well, that just about does it. We're really up against the hour here, so I want to first of all thank all you great callers per usual. We always have wonderful callers here on the Natural Health Show, and each and every Sunday night, of course, we welcome you back here on the Natural Health Show, and thanks to producer Marcus Gray for doing a sterling job per usual, and intern Alex Todorovic, and podcast meister Adam Ing, thanks to Candida, of course, and Keep tuned for Fox 25 Morning Show this coming Thursday at 8:50 for my Living Well segment. Again, I'll be doing that on Fox 25 Morning Show Thursday morning at 8:50. Check out our website, too. If you miss any of these programs, want to get caught up on information, it's all listed on there. So check out our website at maxhealing.com. It's one word, maxhealing.com. You can also follow my tweets on Twitter, Mark Mincolla on Twitter. That's easy to check out. Also, stay tuned right here on 96.9 Boston Talks for Woody and Abby and their entire gang on Right Turn Radio. Until next Sunday, this is Mark Mincolla reminding you all, please be wise, be aware, be well. Happy 4th. Make it a healthy week. Good night.